Thank you very much. Good afternoon, everybody. And I'd like to start by thanking the organizers for inviting us again this year to present. We're a company called MEDIPOST from Korea. We develop and put on the market in Korea an allogeneic umbilical cord blood-derived mesenchymal stem cell products. So corporate profile, we were founded in 2000 in South Korea. We're currently listed since 2005 on KOSDAQ in Korea with a current market cap as of last week, just around $580 million US or so. About 220 employees and 50 of us is in R&D and manufacturing and regulatory affairs. Our headquarters is based in Seoul. We operate cord blood bank and also R&D for cell therapeutic development. I'll show you the product profile and pipelines. We also operate our own GMP facility in Korea, some 1,500 square meter space for manufacturing of commercial product in Korea and also other clinical trial materials. MEDIPOST America is a U.S. wholly owned subsidiary based in the U.S. private entity. Slide is not advanced. Okay, there we go. So we operate cord blood bank. This is in Korea. We are the largest private cord blood bank in Korea with about 45% market share. That's about $20 million US revenue a year. We currently store under 240,000 or so units privately stored for private use. And the second arm of the business is doing stem cell therapeutics. As I said, off-the-shelf allogenic stem cells using donated. So these are nothing to do with the privately stored cord blood units, but donated units of cord blood that we extract the MSCs as a raw material to start developing products. And one product that we put out on the market in Korea with BLA, that's Biologics License Application, market approval by Korean FDA at the time, 2012, with some 6,000 plus patients treated commercially on market. And the third arm of the business is using conditioned media. So these are not the stem cells, but the culture media with extracellular vesicles, non-cellular material added into cosmetic products. And that's also launched recently. So speaking about the off-the-shelf allogenic stem cell product, derived from human umbilical cord blood. The first product is called CataStem. This is for degenerative osteoarthritis, regenerating cartilage. And I'll show you some pivotal study data conducted in Korea. And the U.S. has also completed 2-year follow-up of phase 1-2 recently, conducted in Chicago and Boston. PneumoStem, this is an orphan indication for bronchopulmonary dysplasia, which is a pediatric orphan indication for prematurely born babies. And this has been through phase 1, completed in Korea, and currently undergoing phase 2, double-blinded placebo control with 100-plus subjects in Korea, which will be eligible for early market access. In the U.S., we've recently completed phase 1-2 study. I'll show you some data from that study. A third in the pipeline is a product called PneumoStem. This is for mid to late stage Alzheimer's disease patients. Also completed phase 1 successfully in Korea. It's currently undergoing phase 2 trial in Korea, and IND filing to the US FDA is planned for early 2018. So in Korea, the cell therapy products, including stem cells, are regulated under these framework, under biological products, just like the recombinant DNA proteins or biologics proteins or a gene therapy products. The cell therapy product belongs there. And then, as many of you will be familiar, these autologous allogenic concept, if they are minimally manipulated at hospital or doctor's office, then they're governed under Medical Services Act or medical practice. But even if it's autologous cells, and most definitely for allogenic cells, if they're expanded or cultured or treated with any agents, then they fall under biologics and they have to be basically regulated as a drug product. And these cell therapy products belong there. And our product called CataStem has been approved after phase 1, 2, and 3 clinical trials in Korea with the label of treatment of repetitive and or traumatic cartilage degeneration, including degenerative osteoarthritis, and quite importantly without age limit, as I'll show you in a phase 3 data. So the product is made up in two components. One vial contains the human umbilical cord blood-derived mesenchymal stem cells, the allogenic off-the-shelf cells. They're in active, that's the API basically in liquid suspension, 7.5 million cells. And the second component is sodium hyaluronate or hyaluronic acid. This is custom designed, freeze-dried HA, 60 milligrams. They get mixed together into gel at the operating theater for administration. I'll show you how that's done. So the product has a very short shelf life, 48 hours from time of release from the GMP facility, and the product is stable between 4 to 20 degrees Celsius, and it basically regenerates cartilage. So this is our phase 3 patient data from our treatment day 0 and then 1 year time point of follow-up with second look arthroscopy. You can see the treated lesion here is regenerated cartilage, and I can explain to you how that's done. So the CataStem is really indicated for patients with what's known as ICRS grade 4, a lesion that's basically bare bone stage of cartilage defect. And this is how it's applied. The cell containing vial is delivered together with HA, and it's basically drawn into a syringe, and then the cell suspension is added into a freeze-dried pellet of HA and mixed into gel, and then basically the patient is prepped under anesthesia through a minor surgical procedure. The whole procedure takes about 20 to 30 minutes, where the patient is, the cartilage defect is exposed, and the surgical drill is used to actually create holes on the cartilage missing bone area. And that is to do with stimulate the cortical bone as well as the bone marrow to release some of the patient's own cells. And the cell product, CataStem, is mixed with HA, and that's put into a syringe. And basically the holes that are created is filled with this gel mix containing the MSC product. And then the rest of the gel is covered on top with no other membrane or other layer on top. Simply the gel is viscous enough so that it holds the cells in the place where the holes are created. And simply the suture is closed. So this has been approved with this surgical procedure performed either through open surgery or arthroscopic surgery. So the market landscape for this type of disease or cartilage defect, generally the osteoarthritis, is obviously very big. In Korea, these are the numbers of patients on the rise with joint diseases, including degenerative OA of the knee. And what's highlighted on the right-hand side panel are these age breakdowns. And this is not dissimilar to any developed countries' demographics data today, where there are basically two options available for these patients. If you're younger than 50 or 55 years of age, there's a procedure known as microfracture, which is basically drilling through the holes of the cartilage missing bone to create bone marrow bleeding, and that regenerates cartilage. But that doesn't really work if you're beyond the age of 55. And then you have to really wait for that you're old enough to receive knee replacement, which is basically artificial knee joint. That only lasts about 12 years. So you'll be recommended to wait until you're old enough so that you can receive one, which is pretty much a terminal procedure. So for the patients in the age group between approximately 50 to 70, there's not really much an option today except some painkillers. So we've actually trying to target that gap, and the right-hand side red bars indicate 104 patients who were enrolled as part of our phase 3 study. So the question really was that whether we can, by treating these patients in that specific age group of 50 to 70 approximately, and then using allogenic cell product to cause regeneration of their cartilage that's actually gone missing. So this is the really brief synopsis of the CataStem phase 3 trial with now 5-year follow-up data from Korea. It's a 10-center trial, randomized, open-label trial, comparing CataStem with active control, which was microfracture for this particular study, with no age limit. And then the first primary endpoint were actually really the arthroscopic second look at 1 year time point. That is, all the patients who are at ICRS grade 4, which is bare bone, single treatment, wait for 1 year, and then went to an arthroscopic second look, which is basically a scope to see whether or not the treated cartilage has regenerated. Secondary outcomes were pain and function measures. So this is the primary endpoint 1 year data, where improvement was defined as a regeneration of cartilage. That is from ICRS 4, which everybody was at, and then after 1 year of single treatment, whether you see grade 3, 2, or 1. Basically, 97% of patients showed versus 70 or so patients in the control group. And here, the top panel is the control patient, where you can see after 1 year, you still have the dimple ear, non-regenerated cartilage. On the bottom panels, you see a 1 year time point, fully regrown cartilage. And there's 97% of patients, irrespective of their age, showed this regeneration phenomenon. And recently, we were able to follow these patients in the 3 to 5 year follow-up. Again, single treatment, we're simply following the same cohort of patients. And as you can see, the pain and function score known as IKDC, in this case, higher the score, the better. You can see the sustained improvement of patients who treated with CataStem versus microfracture. A similar type of international measure known as WOMAC. This is also pain and function measure for the knee. And lower the score, the better. And you can see the treated patients sustain that improved state up to 5 years compared to the controls. So this is now in the phase 1/2. So we've published phase 1/2 study, which was conducted about 10 years ago with 7-year follow-up data recently. There's a publication citation there. And phase 3 follow-up data, which I've just shown you, is on the review, peer-reviewed journal. As I mentioned to you, market approved in Korea for 2012. And with the label here, US phase 1/2 is completed with 2 years as of this May. So 600 patient post-market surveillance following our BLA in Korea was completed without safety issues. As of end of September, we have 5,993 patients treated commercially. This is around about at a rate of $7.5 million revenue at the moment stream for the company. And the 6,700 or so doses, that is because some patients have larger lesions of defect, may need 2 or 3 doses to cover that area. That's why we have released more number of doses of product than the patient number who received the treatment. And this is the sales history by quarter since the launch in 2012. As of 2017 second quarter, well, we've got about 530 patients per quarter, and we are about 150, 170 patients a month commercially receiving this product in Korea. So the next product, about 3 slides I have for you, BPD. This is a product called PneumoStem. And bronchopulmonary dysplasia is a developmental disorder which happens at about 1% natural birth. We're actually at high risk. They're born at less than 26 weeks of gestation with less than 1 kilogram birth weight. This is about 40,000 babies in the US and 50,000 in Europe. Only supportive care is available with very high mortality, about 30%, and then very long-term severe consequences because of the inflammation and fibrosis that happens in these lungs of these babies who are exposed to high oxygen upon birth. So we've developed this with Samsung Medical Center, and after a series of very extensive preclinical publications listed here, we were able to do first-in-human study, phase 1 in Korea, which was published in 2014. Recently, we've done 2-year follow-up for safety and some efficacy of those babies with no safety concerns. Also published earlier this year in Journal of Pediatrics. Currently, phase 2 double-blind placebo control with 100-plus subjects is ongoing in Korea right now. And also, phase 1/2 study with 12 subjects is completed. This product has been designated orphan drug, US FDA and EMA. And I want to quickly show you the US data, which we've recently completed. As I mentioned to you, 12 subjects, very young age, 27 or weeks less gestational age, and low birth weight. And we administered the drug less than 14 days of birth to check the safety. As a primary outcome, there's no issues. But we're able to compare alongside the 12 patients who received treatment at the same institution, 13 babies who were eligible, but because their parents did not consent, could not be enrolled to the study, but only received standard care. And then we were able to compare what's known as positive pressure ventilation days. These are the number of days these very premature babies have to be maintained on machine to basically assist breathing. And these, the Cox regression graph here shows the earlier days that the babies were treated were coming off the mechanical ventilation, which was statistically significant to those comparison cohort of 13 subjects at p-value less than 0.05, even in this small sample size. So this is very positive, and we're looking to move into the next phase discussion with the FDA early next year for the next phase trial in the US for this asset. Last slide is called this product called PneumoStem. As I mentioned, it is for mid to late stage AD patients, and these are the phase 1 trial patients, MRI image on the left. We have, again, a series of clinical animal animal model studies. First in human phase 1 was complete and published recently, and then phase 2A is ongoing in Korea. As I said, the IND submission is planned for US FDA early 2018. So we have commercial stage HUCBMSC allogenic off-the-shelf product for CataStem for OA, PneumoStem, this is for BPD, often neonatal pediatric indication for early market access in certain territories, including Japan, and hopefully in the US as well. And NeuroStem is for late stage and aged AD patients. The safety profile has been established in our phase 1 study. And we also have some next generation proprietary platform for allogenic cell therapy products. We have various partnering efforts going through some parts of the world, but basically flexible partnership models and investment models are available. Here's my contact details. If you have any questions or need to contact me, welcome. And thank you for your attention.